And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be in a tournament for sorcerers. We're going to be adding ingredients to cauldrons. We're going to be mixing and tasting potions and casting spells in an interesting filler card game called Pentos from Asynchron, and it's designed by Bruno Cathala. What does that tell you? Ooh, this better be good, right? Anyway, it's 2 to 5 players, takes about 20 minutes to play. Light to medium filler game. Let's check it out, show you how it's played, I'll let you know what I think. In Pentos, you're trying to be the best sorcerer over 3 rounds by making the best potions and casting the best spells and having the least amount of them do damage to you. So how the game works is the game is set up here, and we have, there's 5 different types of colors in the game, which are known as ingredients, and there's also 9 different numbers. So the cards go from 1 through 9, and there's 5 different colors, or in this case, ingredients. So here it's set up randomly. And on your turn, you have one of 3 possible actions to do. The first one is to add to the pots. Each one of these is sort of a cauldron or a pot of ingredients. And this one has 2 of these orange ingredients with a 1 and 7, and so on and so forth. One of the things you can do on your turn is add to the pot. So when you do this, you add to all 3 of them. And that's your turn. However, there's a bonus when you do this if all 3 pots have at least one matching ingredient color, which in this case 2 orange, or 2 matching numbers. In this case there's 2 ones. In this pot there's more than 2 greens. So since we have at least a matching color or a matching number in all 3 pots, when you add, you can pull any one card from any cauldron. So I might pull, let's say, this one and keep it and put it in my hand. So that's one thing that you can do. The second thing you can do, now that's it, you only get 1 action per turn. So when it was my turn again, or if it's the next person's turn, the second type of action you can do is taste a potion. And by doing this, you're actually pulling some cards from any one of these 3 columns or pots or cauldrons. And the way you do it is you either pull all of the same ingredient color or all of the same number. So if I were to pull from this pot, if I were pulling the same colors, I would pull all 3 of these and these would come in my hand. If, as we explained in the turn before, these cards are still here, well, from the middle cauldron, I could pull all the 1s from this. So you're trying to build sets of the same numbers or the same colors here. The last thing you can do is cast a spell. One of the spells you can cast on your turn for your only action is the Megalo spell. This is the most powerful spell in the game. Essentially, it's a straight 1 through 9, all of the same ingredient or color. They're all green cards and they all go from 1 to 9. Now again, there's only 1 of each of these cards, so it's very hard to be able to cast this spell. But if you do it, you automatically win the game. The entire game ends at any point if you're able to cast a spell. That's how powerful it is. Another spell you could cast is called the Pentos, as the name of the game, and it's basically 5 of a kind. So if you have 5 of any of the same number, obviously they're going to all be from the different ingredient colors, you throw this down on your turn for your action, and you've done the Pentos spell. When you do this spell, the round, remember the game is 3 rounds long, the round immediately ends, and no matter how many cards you have in your hand, you don't take any points. In this game, you're trying to have the least amount of points as possible. So if you throw this spell down, the round ends, and you're getting 0 points for that round, which is pretty huge. Now the last of the 3 spells that you can cast, now again, this is an action, and you can only cast 1 spell per action, so it's essentially your turn, is called the Mikros. And what this is one of 2 ways you can cast a spell. Any set or run of 3 of the same ingredient, so we have 6, 7, 8. Essentially, it's a set of at least 3. It can be more, but it has to be at least 3 of the same color. Or, if this was sort of one type of it, or a different type of this same spell is 3 of the same numbers. So 3 8s at least of any, obviously they're going to be of different colors. So 3 of the same number, or 3 of the same color in a run, 6, 7, 8, and you've done this spell. Now that least powerful spell doesn't end the game, it doesn't end the round like one of the other two huge spells do. So why do you do those? Well, when you throw those down, there's these special cards that you can draw that allow you to do certain things. So when you throw down one of those micro spells, you get to choose one of these two special cards and activate it. Now this is a wild card. This one would stay in your hand and you can use it for any color and any number anytime. Very powerful when you're trying to. So sometimes you will play one of these smaller spells to get a wild card to then use this to get one of the bigger spells to end the round or end the game possibly. This one here, and then this would get refilled if you take one, and now people get to see what they are. There's 5 different ones. There's 2 of each card. What this one allows you to do is take any amount of cards, between 1 and 5 cards from your hand and discard them. Well, you'd want to do that because at the end of the round, if you're left with cards, we'll show you the scoring later, you're going to get points and you want to have the least amount of points as possible. So by getting rid of cards in your hand towards the end of the round will help you. This one here allows you to rummage through either the discard pile or the deck pile and pull any one card you want. Really powerful. This one is, I can either give an opponent 1 to 5 cards of the same color that I don't want from my own hand and give it to them, or I can look at their hand, 1 to 5 cards. I get to look at their whole hand and choose any amount of cards, 1 to 5 of the same color, and take them from him or her. Very powerful. And then this one just allows you to take any one card that's in those cauldrons that we showed you. So how does a round end? Well, we talked about the spells. Obviously, one of them ends the game completely. The second spell that you could cast ends the round immediately. So other than that, the way to end the round is when nobody can play anymore. So at some point, these cards are going to be completely discarded. They're going to be already used. They're going to be gone. There's going to be no cards to draw. So people are going to be just playing spells or taking cards. Now let's say a player takes these 2 as a taste of potion because they're the same color and they add them to their hand. And what we have left is, we don't have any piles. There's one left here that has these 2. Maybe this person took the 2 blue ones. And what we have here, we have no pots that have multiple same colors or multiple same numbers, so nobody can take any more. And if nobody can play any spells, then the round ends and we go to round end scoring. At the end of the round, everyone's going to put their cards sort of in a sequence order of the colors that they're in. So we have, this one's all by himself. These 2 are the same ingredient and it's in a sequence 2, 3. These ones are all the same color, 3, 4, 5, and this one's all by himself is 6. The way this works is if you're in a sequence with at least 2 cards in the sequence, these are worth 1 point each. So this is 1 point and that's another point. So this little thing here is 2. Here, the same thing, we have 1, 2, 3 points here. So these 3 points plus these 2 points are 5 total. And then any card by itself is the value on the card. So this is 2 points alone. So we had 5, 6, 7, and then this one's all alone is a 6. So this is a 6 point by itself. So this is 13 points total I would have scored in this round. You play 3 rounds, unless of course someone ends the game with that huge spell that we talked about. Otherwise you play 3 rounds, and the one who has the least amount of points at the end of the game is the winner. All right, well this was an Essen 2013 release. I saw Bruno Cathala designed it. He's one of my favorite designers, if not my favorite, so when he touches something, I gotta play it automatically. Got the card game in. I read through the rules, and I've gotta be honest with you, I read the rules and I thought, this isn't gonna be fun. This is like way too simple. Are you sure Bruno designed this? I actually doubted the man. I feel bad for saying that, but I must say he proved me wrong. Again, this is one of those games where the first time you play it, you're kind of like just trying to figure out, even though it's so simple. You have cards and you have numbers, right? Easy. You're making sets, or you're making, 5 of a kind, or you're making runs. Seems simple. But for some reason you have only those 3 decisions, and many of the times you only have like 1 or 2 of those decisions. But it still takes like one playthrough to kind of like, okay, now what are we doing here? What are we trying to do? And then after the first play and subsequent plays, once you really understand the game and how things work, it clicks and you're like, oh, this is good. And with every play, and as you keep playing with the same players over and over, and you really have to pay attention to what the other players are grabbing, which is why I like this. To be a really good player, you should or need to have a pretty good memory, because especially if you have multiple players, because you're watching what they're taking. Hey, did he just take like the 3rd one in a row for 3 turns? I better not let him take any more ones. Hey guys, don't let him take any more ones. Let's get him from him, because he's gonna blow us away with that spell. So you're really watching what other people are taking and seeing what you're taking, and depending on what that, you're devising your strategy. So I really like this. It's a solid filler. It looks and sounds like a super light game, and I don't want to say it's a heavy game. It's a solid filler game. But there's enough there to think about. It's easy. 3 things you can do in your turn, but it's one of those games that you learn in 5 minutes, but it takes forever to master, which I really like. I like games that are simple, that gives you decisions, but the decisions that you make, even though there's not a whole lot of them, they're really good, and over time, the game just gets better. So I would definitely recommend this. Bruno, sorry I doubted you ever. I should have known better. This is a great game, a great filler. Bruno, I should have known better. But if you like little lighter filler card games for 20 minutes, this is a good, solid one that actually has more strategy than you think it would by looking at the cards and reading the rules. You might want to check out Pentos. Hey, one more thing before you go. If you're about to drop a comment on this YouTube page for this video and you're expecting interaction or a personal response from me, I recommend the place to do that is at my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/thegameboygeek, because I don't get notified when YouTube videos get comments on the Dice Tower Network because I don't own the channel. So if you want to interact with me directly, I'll see you at my Facebook page.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.